Hi, I apologize. Apparently today the internet decided it was going to make us wait for it. So thank you for hanging in there with me for that first 20 something seconds that we're going to end up chopping right off, because you know what? We're going to make this happen anyway. Well, welcome. This is Growth Groove with Dr. Ericka Knight. So you know what that means. It is Tuesday. You can find me Tuesdays at 7 o'clock here on Facebook and on YouTube, talking about things that have to do with mental health and mental wellness. So tonight I have something really special for you. We're going to be talking about 5 ways to get help in a mental health crisis. Now, as we get started, I have a couple of things, little housekeeping things that we're going to do first. The first is, if you know anybody that needs this, please tag them. The second, if you know anybody that needs this, please share. Sharing is caring. The next thing, are you ready? The next thing is we are gonna have you put hashtag replay in the comments if you are watching later and not watching live. We can make that happen, all right? So thank you so much for coming. We are going to hop all the way into it. So tonight we're talking about 5 ways to get help in a mental health crisis. You might be like, Dr. Ericka, why are we talking about this? Well, we are in a time where there is so much going on that people are being emotionally stretched to their limits. And we know one thing that happens when people get stretched to their limits is sometimes it becomes more difficult to emotionally regulate. So people will have more symptoms of anxiety, depression, irritability, and make it to the point where it's not something little. So I want to talk about what happens when it's something big. Because you know what? Sometimes they don't tell you what to actually do. They say, hey, there are mental health emergencies, but you don't know what to do. And there are a few different strategies, and myself having all these experiences in mental health can let you know what are some of the things that you can do if you are in a situation where either you're in crisis, you know someone in crisis, you're somewhere where you work with people and someone's in crisis. Just a variety of things so that you can help people around you in your community, your loved ones, and yourself. And I want you to be prepared, because you know what? I hope you never have to use this information. I truly hope you never have to use it. But just in case you have to use it, I want you to be able to have the information. So let's go ahead and get this started. So again, if you don't know me, I'm your host, Dr. Ericka, double board certified psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach. I am extremely passionate about helping people be better so they can ultimately do better and live better, because we all deserve to have that life we were created for. I do that through my adult telepsychiatry program. I'm licensed in multiple states. We'll tell you about that later. I also have a best-selling author and have some books, and I speak. So let's go ahead and hop to this, because I don't want to keep you here forever because you hung in there earlier. All right, let's do this. So the first thing we're going to list is something pretty intuitive, because who do you call an emergency other than Ghostbusters? 911. You can call 911 to get yourself, to get someone you're with, and also you can call them for a wellness check. If there's someone that you've heard something, seen something, was one of the things we see a lot now is people will post things on social media. Or if you're talking to someone and they're in trouble, or you hear something that's really disturbing, you can always call and ask them to go to the house and do a wellness check. So the first is you call 911. So what if you could actually get someone to go somewhere? Another option is you can go to the emergency room. All emergency rooms typically are staffed in a way that they can assess for mental health emergencies and then triage to see what someone needs. Triage is just a fancy word for determining what level of care someone needs, because sometimes people appear to be in crisis and it can still be managed with them at home. Sometimes they need something like a partial hospitalization, which is those programs. People go multiple days a week for some hours of the day, but they don't stay there. So we have partial hospitalization programs and intensive outpatient programs. Intensive outpatient programs tend to be less time per day or less days a week than partials. So if you can't go to the ER, or you just need to talk to someone, you can call the suicide hotline. So the phone number is going below. It's scrolling, 1-800-273-8255. But you can call the suicide hotline. Now, one of the cool things about them is They have trained people that answer the phone, that can talk people through a crisis, help link them with resources, and sometimes people just need someone to talk to. So that is an option. The next thing is another phone level, because people are like, where else can I call? Is there anywhere I can call other than the crisis line, the suicide line, or 911? Well, I gave it away. You can call the crisis line. Most communities, sometimes they're community-wide or statewide. So like I'm physically located in Georgia. So you can reach the Georgia crisis line. It's called GCAL. You just go online. You can pretty much just say crisis line. It will pull up whatever one is local for you. The great thing about them is they still have skilled staff that can talk to you and help you process things, but they're also well versed in what the resources in the area are. So the great thing about that is they can hook you up with the necessary resources and what's in your area. So they typically will know your area a little bit better than maybe someone from a national line. So you would just call that number instead. So we've talked about calling crisis lines. We talked about calling 911. We talked about calling the suicide hospital hotline. We talked about going to the ER. The next thing is you can call a family friend, your therapist, or your psychiatrist. Now, this is typically more helpful if it's not just imminent danger. But if someone needs someone to help them make it through this process, or they're having a tough time, call someone that cares about you, that can help you through the process of what you may need to do next. Or even if you call your healthcare provider, they may be able to talk to you through some resources. Now, one thing you know is when you call any of us, typically on the voicemail says, if this is an emergency, call 911. So if someone is literally trying to kill themselves right now or something like that, then the more appropriate thing is the ER or 911. So you might be like, well, what is a bonus, Dr. Ericka? Well, the bonus is guess what? We are dealing with a new tech stage, and everyone doesn't like to call and talk on the phone. So there are actually crisis text lines. So in this crisis text line, you just will text home to 741-741. Now, I'm going to let you know one of the things they don't tell you is the reason there are different things you can text. It's always to 741-741 is they do sometimes track who, what organization may be sending these referrals or how the person got the information. So like my friend and wonderful mental health advocate, Shanti Das of Silence the Shame, I believe theirs is silence to 741-741. So if you see someone say something different, text to 741-741, it's fine. It's just a tracking mechanism to track different organizations, not necessarily to track you. So I just want you to know that in case you see something else, like text this to 741, text this to 741. So that way you know. So I just want to give a quick thing about some quick tips and things you can do if there is a mental health emergency. Now you might be like, hey, Dr. Ericka, what's a mental health emergency? Generally, our emergencies are as follows: danger to self, danger to others, or just can't function. So someone that can't get out of bed, can't get dressed, isn't eating, those kinds of things. But the ones that people most commonly are dealing with are people that are having thoughts of suicide, having significant thoughts of self-harm, such as self-injurious behavior, cutting, burning, those kinds of things, or having thoughts of hurting other people. The other thing sometimes people will call for is if people are extremely delusional or paranoid or seeing lots of stuff or hearing lots of stuff and can't seem to distinguish between reality and what is going on in their head. So those are the main ones. We're going to do a quick recap, but again, thank you so much for coming, spending quality time with me while we talk about 5 ways to get help in a mental health crisis. Again, if you know someone that needs this, please tag them. If you know someone that needs this, you can share it. Sharing is caring. The next thing is if you know someone that needs this or you're watching it later, just put hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know you were here. I know we were having some wonky internet issues, so we will see how this all goes down. All right. So thank you so much. Let's keep this going. So we're going to do a quick recap, then I'm going to get you out. So the first thing is we're going, who do you call? 911. So you can call 911 either to take someone that is with you to the emergency room or to do a wellness check on someone that you're concerned that's at another location. The next is you go to the emergency room. It ends up a little bit easier just to go to the ER if someone doesn't need to be transported. because the ER will have staff that can triage. Sometimes it's hard to know when it comes to even mental health facilities which ones have emergency receiving, such as their own admissions departments, and some that don't. So a lot of times it's easier to go to the ER. The next is you can call the suicide hotline, which is the number below. So they have trained people that can help out, tell you where to go, what to do, and also kind of talk people down if they're just having a tough time. So sometimes people call them and they're not necessarily wanting to kill themselves. They just need to talk, and they're there for that too. The next is you can call your local crisis line. So just type in there whatever state or county you're in. A crisis line number will come up, and you can just call it. They're going to be very comfortable and familiar with resources in your area. So a lot of times those can be extremely helpful, especially when people need different levels of care. And they can also sometimes send a team out if they need to, or they'll advise you to call 911, go to the emergency room, or call someone in the morning, whatever seems to be appropriate. The next is, you always want to get some support. You can call a family friend, your therapist, or your psychiatrist. But as I said before, if you are imminently in imminent danger, then most likely you're either going to get a recording or your psychiatrist or therapist will tell you to call 911. But it's always good to have someone in your corner that can support you, because sometimes when people are having difficulties, it's hard for them to manage all these phone calls and things on their own. The bonus is the text crisis line. So since a lot of people right now are not the biggest phone talkers, that they would prefer to text, you text home to 741-741. As I said before, please know that they track organizations that are giving advocacy information. So you may see something else to text to 741-741, and that is fine too. So that's what I got for you tonight. I just wanted to quickly come in here, tell you some things you can do to help in a mental health crisis. Thank you so much for coming. Again, I am your host, Dr. Ericka, double board certified psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach. I am extremely passionate about helping people be better so they can do better and ultimately live better. Thank you for spending your evening with me. As I said before, I do have a telepsychiatry practice. I am seeing people in Georgia, Missouri, Tennessee, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, Arizona, and California. If you know anybody that needs a little help, even needs a mental health checkup, go ahead and just go to my website, askdrgoodwin.com. Askdrgoodwin.com. You can schedule a 15-minute free consultation. Want to give you your usual homework? Please tell someone that you love them. We're going to get through all of this with love and grace. So please call. I'm sure they'll tell you they love you. It will make both of you feel much better. Again, thanks again for coming and spending time with me. I will see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern. I look forward to bringing you some more good information that will help you live better and have the best life you can, and also keep you safe in this time where everyone is just emotionally overextended. So thank you so much and have a great night.